In this segment, we're going to talk about the different types of payments rather than using checks. Accepting a check is risky. There's no guarantee that there's money in the account. You're not guaranteed it's good until it actually clears the bank. And there are alternatives to checking accounts that we are going to cover here. So businesses, on the other hand, may not accept personal checks for payments because they have no way of knowing whether the account has sufficient funds to cover it. The same with you. If you accept a check, you have no idea that you will get money out of that check until you take it to the bank to cash it. Certified checks are personal checks for which a bank has guaranteed payment. It has been stamped and signed by the bank officer, and this stamp guarantees payment. No one other than the payee can cash the check, and you must pay a fee for the check to be certified, and this usually costs you anywhere from $5 to $20 for your bank to do this. When the bank certifies the check, it takes the money right out of your account. For example, say that you want to purchase something for $1,000. The person that you are purchasing it from will not accept a check. It's really risky to carry around $1,000 in cash, so you could go to the bank, you write out one of your personal checks for $1,000, and they will stamp it and certify it. As they stamp it, they will check to make sure you have $1,000 in your checking account, and they will take it out of your account right away. By stamping the check, the bank is guaranteeing that you have money in your account. So when you go and purchase the product for $1,000, the person receiving the certified check knows that they are going to get their money. It is guaranteed. So to review, a certified check is a personal check that the bank guarantees. You pay for the amount of the check plus a small fee. Again, that fee is because additional work is required to issue checks, and the bank is taking the responsibility for the payment. Here's an example of what a certified check looks like. It is just your own personalized check that the bank will mark certified, and then they also will write in the amount that you have there. The next one is a cashier's check. A cashier's check is a check that the bank draws on its own funds. Payment comes directly from the bank's money. You buy a cashier check plus you pay a fee. And again, businesses are willing to accept these because they know they will get their money. An example of this is, again, you have a situation where you're going to have a check for $1,000 to send to somebody. You take in money to the bank, $1,000 in cash or whatever. The bank will drop its own check, not yours, but its own check, which is called a cashier's check. You pay for this check, this $1,000 plus a fee, because again, the bank assumes responsibility for the payment. Once you've paid the $1,000 plus the fee, you walk out of the bank and you have what is called a cashier's check. A cashier's check looks something like this. Again, it is a bank check, not a personal check. The difference between a certified check and a cashier check is that a certified check is a personal check stamped by the bank to show that enough of your funds have been set aside to cover the check, whereas a cashier's check is a bank-owned personal check, and the funds come directly from the bank's own money. What type of purchases do you think you'd have that would require you to either get a certified check or a cashier check? Remember, these checks cost anywhere from $5 to $20 just to get them. Some examples would be like some expensive purchases like cars, jewelry, real estate, down payments, jet skis, larger purchases. The next type of payment that you could use without having to use cash or a check are called traveler's checks. These are special forms designed for making payments when away from home. When they first initially started, obviously they were made for people that traveled a lot, and they were used quite often before the acceptance of debit and credit cards. What you do is you can go to a bank, a credit union, or a travel bureaus, and you can purchase traveler's checks. So you take your money in there, you can buy it in denominations in $10, $20, $50, or $100, and then you pay a small fee for them processing these checks for you. Traveler's checks require your signature in two places. When you purchase traveler's checks, say that you get $10, $20 traveler's checks, you will sit down and you will sign each one of those traveler's checks with your signature. The second time you will sign them is when you actually use the traveler's check. So you go and you travel, you go someplace, you're going to use a check, you will sign it there. The person accepting the check will compare these two signatures to make sure they match up. Businesses throughout the world accept traveler's checks because they know they will get payment. They're guaranteed payment. One of the advantages of traveler's checks is if they are lost or stolen, they will be replaced. Again, you will keep track of them in a register, and the best bet is to not have your register and your checks together. So if you lose your traveler's checks, you know the sequence of numbers that are missing. You go to one of the agencies that handles traveler's checks, and they will replace them for you. An example of a traveler's check is this. This would be one for $50. And you can see in the lower left-hand corner, this is where he would sign it when he cashed it. This is where he signed it when he was at the bank. Money orders is another option if you want to make a small payment through the mail or you don't want to carry around a lot of cash. It is a form of payment that orders the issuing agency to pay the amount printed on the form to another party. It's an option for people who don't have checking accounts, used to make small payments. Usually money orders are for under $500. You can get these at other businesses other than a bank. A lot of convenience stores also sell them. And there's usually a small fee that's attached to it, and that small fee is usually under $1. There are many types of money orders, and it pretty much is where you can purchase them from. You can get bank money orders from the bank, obviously, postal money orders from the post office, express money orders, which are issued by a variety of organizations, including traveler's check companies, travel agencies, supermarkets, pharmacies, convenience stores, and telegraphic money orders, which is buying a message to direct a telegraph office to pay a sum of money to a certain person or business. Money orders look like this. Again, here's a Western Union money order. And you'll notice on each one of these, all it does is it has who they are paying it to, and then the amount is stamped on there. An advantage of using a money order rather than a personal check is that the person or the business knows that they will get their money and will not have to wait until a check clears. And also, a business can be fairly sure that the money order will be paid and provide the goods or services immediately rather than waiting for a personal check. A wire transfer is the last one we're going to talk about. Wire transfers are a method of electronic fund transfers from one person or entity to another, and the wire transfer can be made from one bank account to another electronically. There are many reasons why people would want to use a wire transfer. Companies use them to transfer large amounts of money, millions of dollars. They can be transferred instantly so that they don't lose interest on that money, because every day that money is out of circulation, they lose a little bit interest. Also, consumers may use them in case of emergency when funds are needed immediately, like in a remote location. You can have somebody wire some money into you and you would have it.